There's a hidden number inside the name of the most powerful villain in One Piece, and that number is about to decide Luffy's fate. Emu just ran the Straw Hat through with the Void Blade. Locke is on the ground. No one in Elbaf can even get close to this enemy. But Oda planted a clue over 25 years ago that shows exactly who's about to show up and flip this whole fight. And the scariest part? That person is Luffy's own father. So let me ask you something. What if the world government doesn't fear Dragon because of the revolution, but because of a power they buried 800 years ago? Before we get into theory, let's cover what's already canon. In Chapter 1181, Luffy is in Elbaf eating everything he can find while Emu destroys the entire island outside. Zoro, Sanji, the giants, nobody can hold this enemy back. And Luffy himself, who normally runs straight into a fight without thinking twice, admits he's never felt hockey like this before, and that he needs to eat before he can do anything. That alone is a sign he's not ready. In Chapter 1188, that gets confirmed in the worst possible way. Luffy activates Gear 5, creates a brand new form, throws a hockey-charged punch, and Emu blocks it with one hand. When Emu decides to stop playing around, he turns his weapon into the Void Blade and runs Luffy straight through. Locke, considered one of the strongest beings in the world, can't do anything either. He only lands one hit because Emu gets distracted, and Locke himself admits he's being underestimated. With Gaban injured, and Zoro and Sanji tied up with their own enemies, all that's left is the giants. And let's be honest, none of them beat Emu alone. That means one thing. Someone from outside has to step in. And that's where things start getting strange. This rescue pattern has happened before. In Sabaody, Kizaru was an enemy Luffy couldn't beat, and someone showed up to save him before Kuma sent the Straw Hats flying off the island. In Egghead, Luffy stood no chance against the Gorosei, and it was the Iron Giant who showed up and took the Elders down. If Luffy couldn't beat Emu's subordinates, how would he beat their master? Now notice a number that keeps repeating throughout One Piece. 16. In Chapter 763, a world noble shoots a civilian 16 times just for crossing his path. When Luffy rings the bell at Marineford, he rings it exactly 16 times. And Doflamingo's final attack on Luffy fires 16 strings at once. For years, this seemed like coincidence. But in Chapter 1060, Emu uses the ancient weapon Uranus to wipe Lulusia off the map, and the attack fires exactly 16 pillars of light. Emu's name in katakana can be read as 1 and 6, 16 again. And the kanji in the name, put together, form a character connected to Buddha, opening a direct link to Buddhism, where there's a concept called the 16 mental impurities that corrupt the human mind. Greed, arrogance, vanity, hypocrisy. Notice that every appearance of 16 ties back to the world nobles. And there's another possible reading of that same kanji. France. Louis XVI was the last king before the French Revolution overthrew a system that seemed eternal. In Chapter 1086, a world noble complains about hunger with a line very close to the phrase attributed to Marie Antoinette about eating cake instead of bread. The Holy Land starving, a king who seems invincible but is on the verge of collapse. It's French history repeating itself inside One Piece. And this is where Oda left the biggest clue of all. In Tarot, every card has a number, and card number 16 is called the Tower. The image is always the same. A tall tower struck by lightning from the sky, the crown falling from the top, two people plummeting down. This card represents the collapse of structures built on lies, and the lightning that strikes it is both punishment and revelation. If Emu is 16, and 16 is the tower, that means his government is destined to fall, and there's a specific lightning bolt waiting to bring it down. And One Piece has already shown us that lightning bolt before. In Chapter 100, in Logue Town, Luffy is trapped on the execution platform, the axe about to fall. He's already accepted death and smiles. At that exact moment, lightning strikes out of nowhere and destroys the entire platform, saving Luffy. Winds sweep the Marines away and clear a path for the escape. The one standing there was Dragon himself, using an attack called Wind Blast. The storm appeared the moment he arrived, and here's where the most recent revelation comes in. In Chapter 1182, Kiringen, a god's knight with a fruit that materializes fears, accidentally creates a being made of water. A four-armed woman with a white ring floating behind her, almost identical to Imu's black flame halo. Her name is Zasa, the rain goddess. Kiringen explains that the celestial dragons are terrified of water falling from the sky because they live above the clouds, at the highest point on Earth. But this figure isn't new. In Chapter 287, back in the Skypiea flashback, the Shandia tribe names four gods: the sun god, the earth god, the forest god, and the rain god. At the time, it seemed like just local culture. After Luffy revealed himself as Nika, the sun god, it became clear those four gods are real within the story. In Chapter 1138, Robin translates the sacred texts of Hachinosu, and the same four gods appear again. Except instead of rain god, it says sea god. That shows they're different entities. We already know the sea god is Poseidon, so the rain god remains unclaimed. And the strongest clue is in a sound coincidence. The sound effect Oda uses for the heavy rain when Dragon appears in Logtown reads exactly as Zasa. The same sound, the same word as the rain goddess's name revealed in Chapter 1182. Just like Nika comes from the Japanese word for smile, Oda names his gods using sounds. And Dragon's debut scene has carried that sound since Chapter 100. If Dragon carries Zasa's power, that explains why his bounty priority is higher than Gold Roger's. The man who knew the entire history of the world. The government doesn't fear Dragon just because of the revolution. They fear the same power they feared for 800 years in Nika's fruit. In Chapter 1083, Dragon said the final battle wouldn't start until the gods' knights were mobilized. Now they're in Elbaf, and Imu himself is there in person. At the same time, the Holy Land is on fire, likely attacked by Sabo while its defenses are weakened. Everything points to the revolutionaries splitting their forces. One group hitting the Holy Land, the other, led by Dragon, heading to Elbaf to face Imu far from any protection. Putting it all together, Imu is 16, the Tower of the Tarot, a structure of lies that's lasted 800 years. Dragon is the man with the strongest motive to bring that system down, and possibly the bearer of the power that controls storms and lightning. And he's already brought a tower down once before, when he saved his own son from execution with a bolt of lightning from the sky. Personally, I believe Oda has been building this since Logtown. And if this theory is right, the moment it gets confirmed is going to break the fandom. If this is true, it completely changes how we read every appearance Dragon has made in the story. But I want to know what you think. Did Oda plan this from the start, or is this just an incredibly well-placed coincidence? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want to fully understand Nika's true power, the next video is linked right here.